Minnesota tonight. Minnesota tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow, guys. Thank you so much. I'm Cody Nelson.
And I'm Alcé Bruno.
And this is the state of Minnesota. A wintry mix of sleet and snow caused havoc on Twin Cities roads Saturday morning, creating slick surfaces which led to multiple crashes and over 300 spinouts. But the extreme conditions weren't all bad. X-Games spokesman Shaun White was reported as saying, "It's actually been some pretty fresh gnar, brah."
The Minnesota Vikings' attempt to rename a portion of Chicago Avenue Vikings Way fell flat at City Hall last Monday night when the City Planning Commission said they wouldn't name any road after the Vikings that wasn't a dead end.
Burnsville police officers shot and killed a man allegedly brandishing a knife in a McDonald's parking lot Thursday morning, the first police shooting in the city in 35 years. This incident marks another 35-year cycle of sacrifices to the gods of ancient Burnsville, who mandate that all residents may now go back to bed. A man from Plymouth, Minnesota was arrested after he apparently stole $250,000 from his ailing 90-year-old mother while neglecting to care for her. Instead, he spent most of his time watching pornography and spending money on gambling. And all of a sudden, I just became a pretty good son.
State employers reported that they had more than 96,000 positions to fill in the final quarter of last year. 96,000 positions. It sounds like sex.
You're a real Casanova. 5 schools in Cloquet canceled school this week due to a computer virus. The source of the hacker is still unknown, though if we had to put our money on it, our bet's on the nerdy kid who all of a sudden has 1,000 friends on Monday.
The former mayor of Watson, Minnesota, Joseph Mark Rongstad, faces charges for reckless discharge of a firearm after a February incident where he fired a rifle through the sunroof of his truck, claiming he was trying to get away from the corpses that were after him. Rongstad proudly joins the growing number of white males who get so bored with their lack of obstacles that they have to invent situations where creatures pursue them.
The Minneapolis City Council is preparing to debate a citywide ban on plastic bags. For supporters, the ban would help reduce needless waste, but opponents argue that plastic bags are the #1 source of camcorder footage used by weird neighbor kids to seduce Kevin Spacey's daughter.
Minneapolis police are investigating a string of 6 robberies, including one in which a 74-year-old man was held up in broad daylight, or as we called Minneapolis, the early bird special.
In April, Glam Doll Donuts in Minneapolis will add brunch to their menu, including breakfast sandwiches with donuts in place of bread. When asked if their brunch will include anything beside crap shoved between glazed donuts, the owners made fart noises with their mouth and then went like this.
Minnesota State Senator Chris Eaton withdrew an assisted suicide bill after 2 hours of impassioned testimony Wednesday, rather than allowing a vote. Opponents said the measure could lead to an increase in suicide rates, which supporters replied, "Yeah, that's the point."
Minnesota-based company General Mills will begin voluntarily labeling products nationwide that contain genetically modified ingredients. PR reps for General Mills are telling consumers to expect many other big changes in labeling, namely the death of the Honey Nut Cheerios bee by pesticides and the unveiling of Monsanto, the 4th Rice Krispies elf.
According to a study by the University of Minnesota, 2/3 of small-town grocery store owners plan on closing their doors within the next 10 years, turning rural areas into food deserts. This is, of course, in addition to rural areas already being fun deserts, culture deserts, and minority deserts.
Senator Al Franken attacked Republican responses to Obama's newest Supreme Court pick by saying that they reminded him of his past life as a comedian, in that they were poorly executed and mostly just sad.
New research shows that 13% of working-age Minnesotans who earn less than $35,000 annually have diabetes, compared to just 5% of earners who make more than $35,000. Income was consistently linked with associated factors like education, access to medical care, and dying of diabetes.
A Twin Cities writer named Donna Trump said in an interview with the Star Tribune that since the beginning of the presidential campaign, She's ashamed to say her name and doesn't want it to be the first thing people know about her. Still, I don't think it's out of line to keep everyone named Trump out of the country just for a while, just to be safe until we can figure out what's going on with those people.
A St. Paul man who described himself as a super racist with a kind heart is being charged with assault after reportedly punching a hospital employee who was wearing a yarmulke. After hearing the defendant's statement, a Ramsey County judge declared, "Okay, we'll send you to Kind Heart Jail."
The Minneapolis City Council gave final approval to start a $129 million renovation on the Target Center this May. Included in the renovation package are new restrooms, food and beverage areas, and Minneapolis legally changing its name to Target Town. A recent report names Mankato, Minnesota as the city with the fifth lowest unemployment rate in the country at 2.5%. Now this seems impressive, but things really balance out once you factor in all the MSU students taking bong rips like it's their job.
Prince announced plans for his first memoir, which will cover the period of time from Prince's first memory to his Super Bowl performance in 2007. The book, which is written with lavender-scented ink on the Shroud of Turin, will be available to all local florists during full moons. The audiobook, however, will be released exclusively on Tidal.
A recent study reported that Minnesota is one of the top states where head lice show resistance to common treatments. Local doctors and biologists were excited to research further into cures until it was reported that these super lice are just en route from New York to San Francisco and got stuck here on a layover.
A recent National Geographic piece shed light on an office building in St. Paul in 1965, where half the floors observed daylight saving time, and the other half did not. And you thought scheduling meetings was tough?
See, because half of them are like an hour ahead.
It's like, is it now? Or was it
I
like
thought the
an
meeting was in an hour.
But
Oh, you. Yesterday was the six-county Twin Cities metro area regional spelling bee, the winner of which moved on to the Scripps National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. this May. As a former competitor in the Minnesota Spelling Bee, I don't even want to make a joke. I just want to say C-O-N-G-R-A-T. Great work, everybody. I'm sure you had a lot of fun. Once again, I'm somebody who inhaled a bug on the way to the meeting today and almost threw up on the road.
I once shot myself in a McDonald's parking lot.
And this was the state of Minnesota. Thank you very much.
Minnesota tonight. Yeah. Tune in. Minnesota tonight. Tune in. Minnesota tonight. Minnesota tonight. Minnesota tonight.